Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and wonderful guests. I am Toastmaster Ishu Shukla, and I currently hold the position of the Secretary of the Prayagraj Toastmasters Club, and I'm honored to be your Sergeant at Arms today. On behalf of Division F, I warmly welcome you all to Fear to Fervor with Jocelyn Tyson, the World Champion of Public Speaking 2023. A few guidelines before we move forward. By attending this remote event, you agree to the privacy policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the remote hosting service in use. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages, may be shared with other meeting participants. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said material, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. To conduct a smooth event, all the attendees are kindly requested to remain mute while the speaker is speaking. In case you have any questions for the guest, the Master of Ceremonies will take your questions. The chat window will be open. You can shower all your love in the chat window and use the emoticons as much as you like. Looking forward to an amazing session with our today's guest. And now, without wasting any more time, I would like to hand over the stage to our Master of the Ceremonies, DTM Gayatri Deshmukh. The stage is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Sergeant at Arms, for setting that tone for the meeting. Today is a really special day. One of the many reasons why it is special is, I have often heard wise people tell, surround yourself with people like whom you want to be. I want to be a champion someday, so I decided I'll surround myself with all the champions. And this is this amazing opportunity that our division director, Toastmaster Shobit Singhal, brought us. He brought us one champion after another. And I'm just hoping that a little Midas touch from these ladies will touch me, and maybe someday our division director will call me as the champion. But again, this is just a dream. But the preparation is on. The only problem, this year, while I was watching the World Champion of Public Speaking finals, the winner was talking about triathlon. Now you can see me. And I'm wondering, do I need to run, swim, and cycle to become a world champion? If that's the condition, there is no way I'm becoming one. But I have decided I'm going to ask all of these queries to the champion herself. Our champion, World Champion of Public Speaking 2023, Toastmaster Jocelyn Tyson. She's joining us all the way from United States. And for the welcome address, I would like to call upon stage our Associate Club Growth Director, former Division F Director, and one of the most darling personalities of District 124, a humble person, full of humility, currently working with Emeritus on the corporate front and working on starting his own venture someday. Please help me welcome on stage Toastmaster Asankhya Vishwamohan for the welcome address.
Thank you so much, Masters of Ceremony, and a huge round of applause for distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri Deshmukh, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever been there? The moment when Jocelyn delivered a speech, and that speech not only captivated hearts, but also led to her winning the prestigious title for World Championship of Public Speaking. Have you been there is a question that has been echoing in our Toastmasters fraternity that I see for the past few months, and Jocelyn has undeniably been the talk of the town here for sure. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, today I have the privilege of introducing someone who needs no introduction because her name has become synonymous with excellence. And Jocelyn B. Tyson has achieved what many can only dream of. And today, she is here with us. The idea, this idea goes back about 3 months back when we were all witnessing the World Championship of Public Speaking happening on one platform. And a couple of months back, thanks to the tireless efforts of the members of Division F District 124, who led from the front to make this remarkable event happen. And now we are here, eagerly awaiting the insights and inspiration from none other than the World Champion of Public Speaking herself, after conducting the prior two champion events with distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri. Moving forward, just fasten your seatbelts and get ready to be inspired, motivated, and enlightened. Jocelyn is about to take us on an incredible ride. It's an experience we will cherish forever. And welcome to this extraordinary event from Division F, District 124, where we go from fear to fervor, led by the champion herself. And thank you so much for Jocelyn, first of all, for accepting our invite and making it happen, making it a special day for Division F altogether and the entire District 124 Toastmasters community itself. Let's dive into the journey of a champion, ladies and gentlemen. And to take things forward, we have a vivacious Toastmaster, the Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Gayatri, distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri Deshmukh, to take the event forward. She is the immediate past area director for Division K. She is a President Distinguished Area Director. She has been leading from the front for the Kolkata community, even the Pune, Nashik community in Toastmasters fraternity. And with a huge round of applause, I would like to welcome Dr. Gayatri to take the stage forward. Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Asankhya. My dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, once you have this title of World Champion of Public Speaking, rest of the introduction, it just becomes secondary. But here is something I would like to read out for all of you so that everybody knows our today's guest a little better and a little more depth about where she comes from. Jocelyn B. Tyson holds the prestigious title of World Champion of Public Speaking for Toastmasters International, a testament to her exceptional communication skills. Jocelyn joined the Voorhees Toastmasters Club in 2021 to enhance her public speaking. Trivia for all the members of District 124. She comes from the district which happens to be the second home district of our evaluation champion, distinguished Toastmaster Arnab Nag. So when I told Arnab Nag that I'm interviewing Jocelyn, he said, I just met her yesterday. And he had some wonderful things to say about Jocelyn and that session Jocelyn conducted. She is someone who has been working in pharma industry since 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, there is this one particular ritual in Central Europe, wherein whenever it's the wine festival beginning, the prettiest lady in that city is given the honor of crushing the grapes first. Today, the prettiest lady in this room will get the honor of asking the first question to the world champion. Okay, everybody is wondering who that prettiest lady is. No, it's not me. Please help me welcome on stage that lady who is going to have the honor to ask the first question to our world champion, our club growth director, an epitome of elegance and grace, distinguished Toastmaster Abha Ohri.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri. I'm deeply honored. And I'm so thrilled that Jocelyn has joined us. In the crowd, I'm sure Jocelyn didn't notice, but I was there to witness firsthand her speech at the semifinals as well as at the finals of the World Championships. And I had goosebumps when she delivered the final speech. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing and what I was hearing, because it was something so amazing. So Jocelyn, I just want to ask you, what made you think about delivering this speech on your sporting activity? What made that thing come into your mind? What was it that, made you choose that as a topic?
Thank you so much. I chose that topic because I felt that in the grand scheme of what the world may want to hear about, people know about running, people know about swimming, people know about biking, and they understand a race that we've all may have, whether or not it's a long race or was a triathlon, or maybe that you might not have experienced a triathlon, but you may know what a race is and how physically tiring that could be. And I also wanted something that was light, that was a brevity to the speech. I wanted something that was fun to talk about and that I would have fun telling the story. I remember when that triathlon happened, and I remember coming home telling my mom about it, and I had such a reaction from her, and I was telling her about this and that. So I felt that that would be a perfect speech to give to the world because people find it relatable.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jocelyn.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Abha. Jocelyn, welcome to Division F. It's an honor and a privilege to be interviewing you. First question, a cliche. How is it feeling? World Champion of Public Speaking 2023, Jocelyn Tyson. How does it sound?
It still is still so surreal. It feels great. It feels amazing. And just being in this space, having these opportunities, I think it's without words an exceptional moment for me. And I am so grateful for it. I didn't think it was going to happen. I was grateful that it did, but it was just about having fun and go see look where it took me. But it's a great experience. I'm loving every bit of it. I truly am.
Has anything changed around you after you won the title, professionally or within the Toastmasters community?
Professionally, not so much. I think that professionally, yes, it helps to start to project. And now that you're world champion, that's good. However, I would say within Toastmasters is the biggest difference. No longer am I just slipping in at a meeting and just wanting to hear what someone says or what someone does. I guess when I attend other meetings, now it's Jocelyn's here and what do you have? Can you say something? And that's the part where you realize now I'm no longer this silent person that can come in and out of meetings. Now there's the recognition and people starting to thank you for congratulating me, but that recognition is what I'm now experiencing within Toastmasters.
Since we are talking about the Toastmasters community and how the things have changed for you here, can you tell us a little about your Toastmasters journey so far? When did you start? How did it progress? And was it a cakewalk to become a Toastmaster, like the world champion, or was it like so? Tell us about that.
Absolutely. Had some highs and had some lows. I initially joined Toastmasters in September. I checked all the exact date. September 2021, and it was during the pandemic. So I had, of course, it was all via virtual and Zoom meetings as they are. And I remember speaking to the camera, knowing how I had to pace myself, practicing with that, and I felt comfortable. And then went to face-to-face and actual live meetings. And I remember my first time having to give my speech, and it was a lot of noise going on. It was at this pub that we had a room off to the side that we had a partition for. It wasn't even it was like a curtain that demarcated the meeting space versus the regular pub and all those things that were going on. And it was a big basketball game going on, and there was so much noise. And I remember having to stand up and get ready to give my speech. I gave my opener because that I had practiced. Everything I had practiced, I was ready, and I froze. And all I could think is I couldn't remember what I had to say. And now I'm looking at the floor, I'm looking up, I'm nervous. People are looking at me, like live people looking at me. I was so not ready. And I remember fumbling through, and it was painful. I got through the end, but it was painful. And I think of those moments, and that's where I begin to realize, and you start to grow. One thing I will attribute to some of my success, I mean, almost all of it, is having some good sounding boards. My mentor, she was phenomenal in giving me the feedback. I remember reaching out to her saying, can you tell me what you think about this? Can you tell me what you think about that? And as I progressed, she would give me positive feedback, just constructive feedback. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't. But I found it very valuable because that's where I used to grow. And every time she would come back, I would make sure that she was there. Don't get me wrong, I had my evaluators, and they're very key and crucial in giving good feedback. But I had a mentor that I truly trusted and made the difference and saw how I progressed in that. So it had some highs, it had some lows, but I continued to grow, and I wanted to each time just get a little bit further until now I was ready to have that contest. And then I went on to, and all I wanted was just to make district. And that's where it just started from that point on. So I just said, let me just make one small step to get to there. And then once I get there, that's it. Everything else is the cherry on the top. So I'm enjoying the cherries right now.
Okay, Jocelyn, tell us about the whole process of mentoring. We all
Yeah.
want to know what goes into mentoring a world champion. Cannot be a piece of cake, of course, because world championship is not that easy to come by, because smallest of the things, smallest of the nuances are something you must have worked on, and your mentor must have probably spent just the same amount of time that you did on your speech. Tell us about your journey in the mentoring.
With my mentor, and I liked how my mentor was Rhonda Young, who is the district director of our District 38. And she allowed me to come to her with a speech. She allowed me to listen to it. I said, okay, I want you to pay attention here. Does it flow here? Does it transition here? How did it start? Did you think the intro was slow? And I think being very transparent on where you want and what you need from your mentor, how you want to tweak, where your hesitancies are. I think coming with something substantial before helps to guide them to guide you. And I think that was really important for me. And I know, of course, for her. Now, of course, at the time, I don't even think we were thinking world champion. We were just thinking good speech. So I think sometimes we have to take that title of this needs to be the best of the greatest of the world. That needs to go out. This needs to just be a good speech. Is it relatable? Is it something that people are connecting? Did I lose you somewhere? Was there a part where I could have cut something out? Because timing is so important when it comes down to a contest. So you have those 7 minutes. So as you're doing your speech, should I take something out here? Should I expand upon here? Where are there gaps? And I think that if you're taking a fine-tooth comb and you're doing that with your mentor, with someone you trust, I think that's the biggest thing I would say for the most part when it comes down to having your mentor in their feedback.
That is wonderful to hear. So, World Championship was not exactly planned from the beginning, but it started building on once you were there and you could see it. Okay, it's attainable.
Exactly. I didn't even think until I got to semifinals, and then it said, uh-oh, I need to have another, I know I need to have another speech, but this is really might need to have another speech. And it wasn't until I got to district where they said, well, Jocelyn, if you make it to semifinals, you're going to have another speech. And that's when I realized, like in May, that I needed a new speech potentially. So I still had the idea that I wanted to do something fun. I wanted to do something light. I wanted to do something where people would have enjoy the speech.
Okay, so Jocelyn, like you said that, okay, World Championship was probably not on the cards right from the beginning. It came on the cards later. You spoke about mentoring, but there's this one more thing most world champion aspirants do with their speeches, especially after they reach semifinals. Taking your speech on the road and getting as much feedback as possible. So the whole evaluation thing, how was your experience with the evaluation thing? So there are two things that I have observed, that usually when the world champion aspirants who are in their semifinal stage go to clubs with their speech and look for feedback, the focus is majorly on the recommendations, because you are already an awesome speaker. So the appreciation goes down. Everybody wants to contribute to help you make your speech better. Can you tell us about that experience, taking your speech on the road?
Absolutely. It was a must. And I agree. A lot of world champions do that. If they take it to even higher levels, where they take it to comedy shows, I've seen where people were trying to see if their jokes land. So I do believe that taking it to that next step is important. I went out and got recommendations from as many places as I could. And you do get feedback. You do get some that you don't necessarily agree with. And I think that's the part where you start to filter. If there was something you were a little unsure of and someone agreed with that, I think that's where you realize, okay, that's where I need to maybe make that switch. I need to make a switch here. Or if they open up your eyes to maybe how you're standing on the stage or how you're doing things. Now, for me, it was tricky because I had virtual and I had some live when it came to now delivering the speech. Of course, live was the best because I knew I would be live on stage. And I wanted to make sure, I wanted to make sure that I was going to have the positive and the negative, and wanted to make sure that what it was for live would really, really sink in so I could make the right adjustments. I think.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I think that you have to be careful whenever you're getting feedback. I think that that's the one thing I would say, that this is your project, this is what you're working on. And so just making sure that you know how to tweak and adjust, and that would be it.
Okay, Jocelyn, what are some of the most common mistakes that the contestants make, according to you, in your experience? Common mistakes that they can overcome, they can avoid.
I would say one of the common mistakes that I fear is that I think if you were to have your speech, make sure it reaches everyone. Sometimes I think we believe that we're speaking to, of course, we're speaking to Toastmasters, but be careful and make sure that you're going a little further, that you're going to the people that aren't Toastmasters, or that your subject matter can be relatable to everyone. And if you have introduced something like a triathlon, that you're giving just a little bit of background so that way people can understand or know what the story is about or make something relatable. I don't think that I don't know if others have made those mistakes, but I know that sometimes you have to be tricky, meaning that if I'm relating in my speech contest, or if I'm doing something where I say table topics, or something where I'm dropping a colloquialism from Toastmasters, but someone may not know that. And so you've been taking that around and talking to other people and they all relate, but now you're on the world stage and you have people that may not know people's names, people's things, so you have to be careful about what is reaching universally. I think that's the biggest concern of them all, because I still think these are all phenomenal speeches. They give phenomenal presentations. I think that's the only thing I would say, is that be careful about making it too specific to Toastmasters and not as specific for the world.
Okay. Jocelyn, we have a question here from Nazir Gaza. Since we are speaking about mentoring, he has a question. Did you have a professional mentor? Did you seek out a professional coach right before your contest, like proper coaching before you go up on that stage?
Absolutely, I did not. I had some reservations about whether or not I was going to get a coach or a mentor. I take nothing away from those that seek that additional advice, because it is phenomenal. People like Ed Tate, Mike Brown, these past world champions, Darren LaCroix, they have these coaching options, and I think that they are truly valuable. For me at the time, since this was my first contest, I wanted to see how I did first and then use that for feedback and how to then grow and develop from that. And so I chose that route. So I had no professional per se coaching. I did do research. So that is the one thing I will say that I did. I binged watched almost every world championship speech. I sat down and was like, okay, let's see where we go. Let's see the first one we go. And I just started watching. And I started seeing a pattern that I noticed with some of them, meaning that there was a story, okay? Then there was a lesson that you learned from that story. And now I need to share with the world that lesson and push how important it is for you to also learn that. And then again, in the end, and you throw it in, of course, I throw in humor because I find things funny to laugh at. But you've had to find a way to also maybe connect and how to get that emotion out of the audience that's as well. But I started seeing that as that pattern, and I started thinking, okay, what can I talk about? What can I teach someone, and what story could I use? And that's the part I think took a little bit, but we all have stories. It may not be a triathlon. It may be just something simple. I think actually those are the things that some of the people do, is that everything you have is a potential story that you could use, and how you deliver it makes it where it's world champion. Every story is still on the same weight when it comes down to being able to tell something about something.
Okay, Jocelyn, I'm going to just take a moment over here. I need to speak to my mentees who are sitting here. Just a few days ago, I was making them binge watch a few champion speeches, and they were not understanding why it was happening. So everybody, you know that if I'm asking you to watch those speeches with me, you got to watch those speeches with me, because Jocelyn did it too. I hope you're making that note. Now, Jocelyn, a very personal question, a very intimate question. How did your family respond when it was announced? World Champion of Public Speaking 2023, Jocelyn Tyson. Tell us the reactions from your family.
They were ecstatic. I remember they were saying online, because they had a big watch party, because of course not all of them could be there. I was fortunate to have my dad come up to the semifinals. And since the speech was about him and some of the lessons that I learned from my dad. And so I got to see his reaction even for the semifinals. And that was enough for me. Having that hug, having that I'm proud of you, and just that smile, that warm welcome, and that love that they gave back. It was just, I could feel it. I can feel the energy, and I could feel them being ecstatic for me, because they were there for me throughout the whole process, and watching me at each one, at the club level, division area, they watched each one. And so this was it. I won it all for that year. So it was really great. They loved it. They loved it.
Jocelyn, professionally, how has it been? Has winning this title affected your professional life in any way? And there is a question in that context from one of our attendees, Sandra Savage, and she's asking, for work, how do you feel your public speaking skills have been of benefit? The winning of title and the skills that you developed during that course, how did it help you with your professional life?
Absolutely. I will say what's helped me most with my professional level has actually been the back work while I've been getting ready for the contest. The contest happened, and as I was actually had a new job. I left. I had got a new job, I think August 3rd is when I officially signed, and we were on the onboarding process, and I had to leave training to go fly over to the Bahamas and come back. So I hadn't had a chance to really get in the new space of this new job. But I will say, when it came down to interviewing, when it came down to having communications with patients, because I'm a pharmacist, and having that conversations with people, being in Toastmasters helped me take this up a notch. When it came down to practicing for my interviews, and I knew I wanted to get a new job, I remember having a couple of my meetings, I handed out questions, interview questions to some of for our members for Toastmasters. I said, look, you guys, I'm going to do a question and answer, and this is going to be on my path. And I want to do this open forum. I'm going to do a speech on why you need to hire me. I'm going to do, closing on that. It's going to be a 2 to 3 minutes. It needs to be that power pitch. And if you don't mind, I want you all now to ask these questions. It's going to be a Q&A for me. And it was phenomenal. It made such a difference. So when it came down to time for that real actual interview, I was ready. I wish you would ask me a question, because I've already had this prepared and I've been nervous already, but I went through this already. This is already the second round, please. I'm doing this. So for me, that's where I've seen how my professional experience has been impacted by Toastmasters. Having that confidence that you're building on each time you're going, and building with your club, then takes that to the professional one. World champion, I know that this is going to even springboard even more so once I start doing some of the keynotes and speaking as we are to different districts and having those impactful conversations. But that I'm still seeing, and I'm going to still grow on that. I can speak on what it was in the past, and it's all been great.
Now, Jocelyn, in the beginning of this interview, you told us that you were new to this. You didn't know how to do this. But looking at your speech on that final stage, the finale speech, and the way you did that whole backstroke, or that iconic pose. I mean, that photograph, it's iconic. It's iconic. A question, it felt like a ballet. To be very honest, watching your speech, it felt like we were watching a ballet. How did you add that kind of drama, that kind of, I don't know if theatrical would be the right word or what. It was a ballet. How did you bring in that kind of drama? And how did you make those hand gesture, the whole stage choreography, the body language? How did you make it look so effortless? And there is one question over here. Did you have a particular system wherein you practice your speeches every day? Ilios was asking this question. He's asking, can you share some insights on how you prepare and practice your speeches? And whether you gave any particular time, was there something, a system in place? Tanmay is asking that if there was a system in place for you to daily deliberate on it and consistently improve. How do you bring all of that together to make it look like a ballet on that stage?
Thank you. So what I would say is that for me, it was the moments where I knew I needed to move. That movement needed to be a part of that. And I know that there is a debate whether or not Toastmasters is going to too much theatrics or too much drama. However, I feel as though in today's society where people are picking up their phone and they're constantly looking at something else and not, you have to grab someone's attention. And if you can do that sometimes in your body language, and if I can make you feel like you're there, that's why it was very important. For me, when it came down to now telling my story, I almost wanted to say, if I put myself on mute, could you see and understand the story? If you're on mute, would you be able to see that this is something that's going on? You could see that I'm swimming now, and you can see that I'm over here. I wanted my actions to tell the story almost for me in a way, but not too much where it's now you didn't need me at all. But I wanted it to be a part of the story where you could now see it because I'm moving with you. It took a while, I would say that, but I am a little bit theatrical for my own self. I realized that, and even then, my club was like, "You might want to tone it down a bit. You know, you're all over the place." So for me, it came natural, but I wanted to make sure, and I practiced, so I won't dispute that. I was in the mirror, I'm sitting there looking, getting myself ready, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to swim because I needed to get that feedback. I needed you to see the swim. I needed you to see the stroke. I needed you to do that. And I also wanted to make sure that I was easy to do. I made sure I wore flats because ladies, we know those heels, you have to place your feet. And so when you place your feet, that takes up time. So I needed to have something where it flowed and made it easy. So I had to make sure I had flats. I rolled my sleeves up. I wanted to have movement so I could move a little bit. And I wanted to make sure that this was something that I practiced with. So I practiced in the suit. Always practice in what you're going to wear because you may have wardrobe fails and you want to at least know this is not the shirt for this. This is not the suit for this. These are not the shoes. So make sure just you go through your speech before your contest with a dry run a full dress rehearsal, because that does make a difference. But I would say every time I could, I would practice my movements. If it could just be a little bit tweaking so that way it was easier and then it wasn't awkward. And I wanted it to be something that it told the story with. So I knew I was like, this is not swimming. This was not beauty. This was surviving. And I wanted to make sure that I had these moments where it was clear that I had emphasis into my story. It took a little bit, but I did use feedback and I did use practice along the way.
The most important takeaway, ladies, no heels, flats it is. So if you have bought those new heels, it's time to put them back in the cupboard. Now there is something fun for you, Jocelyn. Now this is a little surprise. I haven't told anyone that I'm going to do this with you. So it's a surprise for everyone. And before we jump into that, I would like to recognize a few dignitaries in the room at present. We have District 124 Program Quality Director, Toastmaster Gaurav Agarwal in the room. We have District 18 Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Saurabh Tiwari in the room. We have our District Parliamentarian, Distinguished Toastmaster Jennifer Ghosh. District 125 Public Relations Manager, Vamsi Yadapragada, Distinguished Toastmaster. We also have District 125 District Chief Judge, Distinguished Toastmaster Jyoti Bhatt. And we have a few others as well whom I'll recognize in the next segment. But here is something that Oscar Wilde said. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And we have quite a few people in District 124 who want to be a world champion, and they have given it a shot. And Jocelyn, you have to judge and give who did it best. You have to give that award, who did it best. Are you ready for it? We have got the top 6 for you. Okay, brace yourself. Here it comes. Who did it best?
That was great. Oh, I second. The second one, that was great. They were great. They were all great. I love that. Oh, that was
We
fun.
like the second one.
Yes.
Okay, Toastmaster Shalab. Can we have Toastmaster Shalab on spotlight, please? Tech Master. And the award for someone who did Jocelyn the best goes to Shalab. Congratulations, Shalab. Now, since she has chosen you to be the one as the winner, you have a golden opportunity to ask our champion a question.
First of all, thank you so much, and please enlighten me. I would love to become a public champion, world champion of public speaking too, one day for sure.
Okay, so Jocelyn, I'm going to articulate it. I think Shalab just got a little nervous in front of you. He basically wants you to tell him that he wants to be a world champion. Now, techniques, writing a speech, structuring a speech, and you also told us about the drama. What is the mindset with which you have to step on that stage? What do you need to feel when you're stepping on that stage to become a world champion? I think that would be probably the most difficult aspect. Writing a speech and doing it is not that difficult, but the mindset.
Of course, yes, absolutely. When you get ready to get on that stage, and I am not shy in telling the story. I was in the back one before that, during they go on that stage, and I was having, I don't want to say panic attack, but it was all coming down. And it was all about, oh my goodness, I'm about to go out here. I'm about to go out on this stage. World champion stage? Who? Me? What? How me? How me? How? What? Me? So I remember thinking to myself, okay, breathe, tell your story. Tell your story and relax. Just get out there and have fun with it. If it goes great, great. If it goes bad, that'll be a story later. But be okay right now and tell your story. You'll get through. It'll be all right. Let's go. And just like that, I went out there and said, this is it. I'm gonna go. Let's go. Let's go. So yes, mindset is have fun with it. Try not to think. I know I say try, but I really do. At the time, I wasn't even think about trying to get to world championship. That wasn't about the trophy. I had no intent of, never did I really think that this was what I'm going to get out here to win this. I just was like, I just want to get out here and I'm here. I'm just glad to be in the room. I'm just glad to be here. So let me just enjoy this moment and have a moment to let them hear my story.
We have a question from distinguished Toastmaster Vamsi Yerapragada. He's asking, can you share some insights into the importance of storytelling in effective public speaking? Now, over here, there is an additional question that a few others have, which they want to ask. How do you bring a story in? How do you convert an incident into a story when you go up on stage and do that speech?
I think when it comes down to a story, you give the basics: what, where, when, who, and why. And what happened? When was it? It was, for me, it was the summer of 2021. And what was it? It was my birthday, and I had a milestone birthday. I wanted to share, and I wanted to change why, because I wanted something epic to show I still got it. So what was the issue? So I think when you start breaking down some of the questions of what, where, when, who, and why this was about, and making sure that it's clear and concise, because once you start getting too many characters, you start losing more people, and you only have 7 minutes. That's one thing about a contest, is that you truly have a finite amount of time, and so it has to be quick and clear snippets of what it needs, what your information is to give. And I do believe that it needs to come back and have some relatability again to what and why do we care? Because that's the biggest one. Why should I care? Why do anyone care? And then that's the whole point, is that make sure that your story comes back to that. And then you can bring a story or a lesson in there. I have to admit, my triathlon happened regardless of what story I had to share. But I had so much going on, not story I had to share, but what was the why, and what was the why for the audience. But I knew that there was so much that I had in that story that I had to narrow it down, because I learned so much from that triathlon. When I gave that speech initially, I talked about how I learned how if you take lessons all the time, then you cannot be ready. I learned that there were so many different things about biking. I fell off the bike. I left that out because I didn't have time. So it was so many things that I had to now tweak and pull your story. So I definitely think that just be clear, concise, get your what, whens, and whys, and then you start to now then build and cultivate. Storytelling is very, very important. That's the part that allows people to kind of lead in, and you're taking them through. So it does need to be a nice, consistent path, not too many diversions, but a nice, consistent path and a nice story.
I am leaving that pause because later on, this is the answer which is going to be cut into a clip, and our division director is going to share with everyone, which I think is going to go viral, because this is a very crisp answer to most questions regarding storytelling that we, the aspiring contestants and aspiring champions, have. I would like to recognize the presence of immediate past program quality director of District 79, Distinguished Toastmaster Sridhar. We have ADA director from District 57, Toastmaster Rifat Hussain. We have an aspiring champion and District 124 table topics champion, Toastmaster Kashfi Ahmed, in the room. And we also have past District 10 Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Shravanti Velampati, in the room, and she has a question for you. Can you elaborate on the role of self-reflection and discipline that went into your achievement? She's asking this because she says we all know that we all aspire to greatness, but don't always know what it takes, what we need to give. Here's the question from Distinguished Toastmaster Shravanti.
I believe that self-reflection is truly important for growth, because I think that when you sit back and have an idea of what's going on or where you're going, in terms of definitely when it comes down to your speeches, what you learned from them, what did you not do, what did you want to make some adjustments on, and being honest with yourself and starting to take that moment to grow. Even when you're having these moments and you win or you don't win, you're having those open answers with yourself. And I have to admit, there may be some frustration when it comes down to not winning, because I know that you don't get the feedback per se from the judges. So you are doing that self-reflection about what you might have to have some adjustments with. And I would tell anyone is have a couple people out there in the audience or people that saw your speech to also help with some reflection as well, to having these moments of growth for yourself. Definitely. I know I've been all self-reflection on this whole process, is how did I get here? How am I now here? And what do I do? And really having a come to moment, with myself, a really big moment on that. So.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. There was one more person who was there in Bahamas, who was watching you perform on the stage of semifinals and was also watching you perform for your finals. And he had a lot of praises and appreciation for you. We will call that person shortly to talk to you. But before we call that person, there is one more thing I wanted to ask you, and that is about when you were finalizing your speech, you knew that, okay, everything is said, everything is fine, I am prepared. How many times did you practice your speech? There is one person, her name is Toastmaster Jeanal, and she's saying that she gets bored of practicing her speech after the 10 times. So she wants to know, how do you keep that energy? That is the question from Jeanal Maru.
I find that you practice it as many times as you can, and I absolutely agree. Sometimes now you're getting bored. One thing I found that helpful is I recorded myself. So I started listening to it, and I listened to it multiple times just to hear myself and the cadence of my voice, what comes next, feeling more comfortable about that, knowing where I was going to go, because now I'm just listening to my audio and I can hear the cadence of that. Also, I would say do snippets. Who says you have to do the whole thing? You just start with your intro. Make sure your intro's packed. End on your end. Go for that one. Make sure that's packed. Start somewhere in the middle or after a certain part. It doesn't have to be the full speech. You're going from, first minute to 7 minute. You can do the 3rd minute time or the 4th minute time. You can cut it up however you please to kind of give yourself just some changes along the way. But I would say practice, 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 practice. That way it rolls right off the tongue. One difference I will admit is that my semifinal speech, I could do that in my sleep upside down anyway coming forward. But in the final one, I didn't have as much time because the semifinal, I had time to do that one on the road. I was going everywhere, was moving along, and I was practicing that ins and out for months. Then this one, it was a shorter amount of time frame by the time I had it finally done. And it took me a long time to have it finally done, where you stop making changes and just said, I'm going to stick with this. And I think I had at that point maybe about a couple weeks where it was truly final. And by then I'm just practicing as much as possible. That was for me. Now, mind you, these are all my thoughts. And of course, everyone is different and how it works for you. Some people have started years in advance, and which is wonderful. If you can start that early, I think that's amazing. And think about how confident you would feel and how easy that would be for you if you can start early enough like that. And I think that comes off very well too on the stage, because that comfortability is also part of your presence. And I think that is the difference, is when you start to do the small nuances between when you're judging some of these world champions.
Jocelyn, you spoke about humor a little while ago. And for the past few years, it has been observed that humor has been an integral part of every champion's speech. So that there must be some reason for that. And here's a question from Shruti Sharma in that context. How to do justice to adding humor in the speech and not sound like odd? Because stand-up comedy is different from an actual speech, even when it's a humorous speech contest. How to add humor without making it out of the place or making it look like just a stand-up comedy? How do we do that?
I feel adding humor naturally is hard to teach or hard to tell, but I will say, for me, I was easy to laugh at myself. I laughed at myself because I thought those were the funny moments of the race where I'm going the wrong way. What? So at these points, I'm wondering to say, as your story develops, what is the catchy or the fun things that you would say that was kind of funny, and then build on that, and having those moments where you can now pluck them in, the natural parts. If it's not a funny story, that's okay. It doesn't have to be. It's a way to connect to the audience. And I used humor. Some people do a call and response. Some people can, emote from the audience just because of that, such a huge, a very emotional moment. But you would need to use maybe a little bit of drama in your speech to have maybe pauses and how you say it, and having the weight in your tone be different. These can all be ways to impact. But yes, you're right. Humor has been sometimes the secret sauce when it comes down to connectivity, because people like to laugh and people like to feel connected. But I think the key is to try not to, as you mentioned, we don't want to force it. Never force it, because it will look forced. But almost have a moment where you can laugh at yourself and laugh at your own moments, in if it's about you in the story, or what was funny was about someone else in the story, or maybe something funny how you learned So play in on that. Lean in on what naturally might already be there, and don't try to force feed it in there. That's what I would say. Don't force it in there.
Don't force humor, because that will change everything. Now, Jocelyn, there are a lot of dignitaries here who are listening to you, getting inspired from you. We have District 124 Public Relations Manager, Distinguished Toastmaster Rohan Nag in the room. We have District 96 Program Quality Director, Luciana Demercy, Distinguished Toastmaster in the room. And we have World Champion of Public Speaking 2023 third place winner, Toastmaster Mariam Ghani in the room. And I would like to ask Mariam, do you have a question for Jocelyn?
Hi, thank you so much. Yes, definitely. Well, I think you answered part of that question, and I really appreciate that, Jocelyn, you spoke about that. You said that you practiced not only in front of a Toastmasters audience, but you practiced in front of other audiences. Now, I wanted to know, did you practice it in front of your friends and your family? Because I felt a little shy to do that. I never wanted my family or friends to be there. So I was just wondering if you did that.
Yes, Miriam, and hello. How are you? Thank you so much for participating in this. This is wonderful to hear from you. I did. I practiced in front of my family. I practiced in front of my friends. I practiced in front of even some people from church or groups that they had no clue what Toastmasters was about at all. And I wanted to make sure that they still, because at the end they were like, "What's Toastmasters? What's this? What? What?" And at that time, I was okay with that. I needed you to just listen to the speech. I'll tell you more about that later, but listen to the speech. What did you get from it? And they're like, "Oh, it's good. I liked it." So that to me was where I felt as though, and I trusted their opinions too, because I need you to give me the real. Did you really like it, or are you just saying that? So I needed to make sure that I got that feedback from non-Toastmasters people, because that's what I felt was going to be relatable for the world. And I had no qualms about speaking in front of my family and friends.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn.
It is wonderful to have Jocelyn, you to answer question by Mariam. Now, when Mariam was here in Division F for one of these sessions, she had to go through something we called as rapid fire. So, Mariam, do you think we should have Jocelyn also go through the same thing that you went through the last time?
Yeah, she's gonna love it.
Okay. So, Jocelyn, here we will be asking you a few questions, back-to-back questions. Okay? And you have to answer without giving a second thought. It has to be immediate.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I believe so.
Okay. Everybody brace yourselves. World Champion of Public Speaking 2023 is about to enter into the worst table topic session ever. She won't be speaking for 1 to 2 minutes. She would be actually giving answers very quick. Okay, Jocelyn, here we go. Are you an animal person?
Yes.
What is your favorite pet?
Dog.
Oh, do you have dogs?
I have a small Yorkie. She's but yes, 7 pounds of fire and spice.
What is your favorite color?
Red.
Favorite food?
Strawberries.
Quick. Sorry?
Strawberries.
Strawberries. Okay. When was your last vacation and the destination?
Last vacation, Bahamas. Destination for.
So you go on vacations and you win the titles. Wonderful.
That's
Nothing like it. Best vacation ever. One word, we all know power of words. One word that irritates you the most.
Conversate.
Okay, conversate. Okay, that sounds odd. That sounds odd.
Converse or conversation. It shouldn't be conversate. I don't know. It's a word. I just like it. It's not a word. But anyway.
Whoever are those people using it, do not use it. World Champion is saying it's not a good word. What is your favorite weather?
Summer and sun, warm, anything warm, beachy weather.
Do you like movies?
Yes.
All-time favorite movie?
Comedy, Coming to America.
And all-time favorite actor?
Denzel Washington.
Do you have anybody as a style icon whose style you really admire?
Issa Rae.
Do you like listening to songs?
Yes.
Favorite song?
Jazz song. It was just, I was just talking about it. Oh my goodness, now I'm having a blank. Sentimental Mood. Jazz song. Love it. Beautiful.
Can you sing a couple of lines for us?
It's instrumental. There's no way I can do instrumental. It's instrumental, not jazz.
Okay, Jocelyn, in the worst case scenario,
Mhm.
absolutely worst case scenario, if you had to choose the world champion for this year, except for you, apart from you, except for you, who would you choose? You are not in
Well,
contending. You are not a contender. If you were not the
I-
contender, who would you choose?
Okay, if I was not a contender, and truly, because I was going right behind her, it was Mariam Ghani. Because when I tell you poise, character, she had grace, and I just felt like her story truly emoted. And I'm behind, and I'm just listening, and it was just a beautiful story. So I definitely would be like, oh yeah, she was up there. She was up there for me. And not that she's here on this thing, but that's true. Truly was the case. Because I tell anyone that I'm like, there were powerhouses that were coming before I even got on that stage. And that's what added to my nerves. Thank you very much. I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? But because of that, I think her story was excellent. Just a really great story.
She is definitely a bundle of talent. Okay, Jocelyn, these are the last two questions for you now. What is one thing that you love about yourself?
That I can laugh at myself. That I can just laugh at it. And that's one thing I actually think is that even in the midst of failures or something, I crack myself up sometimes. It would just be like, this is funny. Of course this happens to me. Of course it's funny. This is funny. And I like that about myself. Just laugh and being able to make lighthearted in moments where you need that.
And one thing that you feel you can do better. I wouldn't want to use the word you would like to change about yourself, but one thing that you think you would like it to be better in you.
I want to stop that inner critic sometimes being so big. It stands out so big and sometimes weighs so heavy about where and why and how I may not be ready or where I need to be. And that can be in my professional life. It can be even here with Toastmasters and just in the day-to-day, because there's that inner self-talk that sometimes can be just really a lot. And I want to start working on that. I want to start being vocal about that and encouraging others to, be vocal about it. And, so that way you can start to conquer some of those things, because that inner critic will be there, but you can try to diminish it some. And that's what I want to work on, is just being acceptable of myself and where I am.
All right, Jocelyn, I think you performed really well. And I'm not going to put the audience in the spot by asking them, who do you think performed better, Mariam or Jocelyn? Because I think both of you did really well. Both of you did really well. When Mariam was put on spot, she handled them head on, and you handled them head on. Jocelyn, there are three things I would like to tell you. With that trophy, with your speech, you have inspired a lot of us. And today, on this platform, you have given all of us that one thing that probably we needed, and that was the perspective. Having right perspective is important. And today we got that perspective from you. And thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is that time when I would now like to call upon stage our wonderful division director, who usually stands behind, and he's like, okay, go do whatever you feel like. And he stands as strong support. We make mistakes. He says, don't worry, it's my responsibility. I'll handle it. We do something good. It's all you. He gives all the credit. And when we need something, all we have to do is, Shobhit, we need this. And he makes it happen for us. Please help me welcome on stage Toastmaster Shobhit Singhal, and with our division director, I would also love to call upon someone who admires him a lot and constantly speaks behind his back about him. Our District 124 Public Relations Manager, Distinguished Toastmaster Rohan Nag. Shobhit, your voice, you are not audible. No, there is some issue with the audio. Until Shobhit is adjusting his audio, we would like to request Distinguished Toastmaster Rohan Nag, if you have a question for Jocelyn. She's done answering all the questions, but in case you have some.
No, I don't have a question, but rather I would like to say something. So Jocelyn spoke about Denzel Washington. So as per Chadwick Boseman, I beg your pardon, and I absolutely agree with that great actor, Denzel Washington is without a doubt the dopest actor in the world current times. There's an award ceremony wherein he wins the award for the best actor, and he goes up and delivers a speech. And in the speech, Denzel Washington says that if it were easy, there would be no Taraji Henson. If it were easy, there would be no Octavia Spencer. If it were easy, there would be no Denzel Washington. That for me is a life-changing speech, and I do not know how many times I've heard it. And today I would just like to add that if it were easy, there would be no Jocelyn Tyson. I, for a fact, know the kind of effort that is required if you want to be number one in the world. And ma'am, to you, to your family, to your support staff, to your club members, it is absolutely a pleasure and honor to listen to you, to learn from you, and to see you be so humble, even though you're currently right at the epitome that a person can achieve in their journey in Toastmasters International. So I would like to extend my thanks also to the Division F team with Shobhit and Asankhya and, of course, Gayatri Deshmukh. It was an absolutely wonderful session. Unfortunately, I got a bit late because I have some familial commitments, but I'm just glad that I was here to listen. And whatever I've learned from you, Jocelyn, I would definitely implement them not only in my life, in my Toastmaster journey as well, and hopefully sometime in my life, in the next maybe 80 years, I don't know, try and achieve at least 50% of what you have achieved, which is absolutely fantastic. So you would just like to say that, and thank you and all the very best, and may God bless us all. Back to you, DTM Gayatri Deshmukh. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And guess who just walked into the room? We have Toastmaster Alexan Nat, who just walked into the room. Alexan was World Champion of Public Speaking, third place winner in the year 2021. Welcome, Alexan. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, I don't think he's on the video yet. I would like to ask our division director one question. We started this whole session by letting the prettiest lady in this room ask the question. Do you think it is fair to end the session by asking the most gracious lady in this room to ask the final question?
Definitely.
So when I say the most gracious lady, she is like the mother hen for the entire District 124. She was a Smedley Distinguished District Director in her time. Put her on the spot and tell her that you need an education session on any of the aspects of Toastmasters. She won't take a moment's time. So please help me welcome on stage District 124 Parliamentarian, Distinguished Toastmaster, Jennifer Ghosh. Hello, Jenny ma'am.
Hi.
Yes. Jenny ma'am, you're on mute. Jenny ma'am, you're on mute. Yes.
All right. I was having a little bit of internet issues, but thank you so much for inviting me to ask one question, because I'm a big fan of Jocelyn and I would really love to ask her my personal question. So hi, Jocelyn. This is Jennifer Helen Ghosh, and I've been in Toastmasters for the last 16 years. I've always wanted to win in a championship and become a better speaker like you. But unfortunately, my destiny took me towards leadership. Now I want to ask you a question. Do you believe that in leadership, we can use a lot of personal stories and a lot of personal examples to share with our teams to be able to collaborate and to become even more tightly bounded as teams? What is your take on this? Do you think this would really help in becoming a better empathetic leader?
I think absolutely. I think, Jennifer, yes, when you are giving a story or you're giving something personal about yourself, especially to your team, I think it creates a connection. It creates that emotional connection with your team, and then I think builds trust and builds a bond. And so depending on the story, now mind you, you don't have to go sometimes into such deep personal, if that's something very private to you. However, still something that can be relatable to your team and allows for them to connect. And I believe that connection builds trust. And when you have a tighter bond with trust, you're having people now wanting to do and want to follow and want to trust your leadership. Absolutely. Put your story in every chance you can when you do have a chance to talk and speak, because I think the story really does connect.
Yeah, I think that stories and examples of our lives connect with people because we are similar yet different, but we may face similar type of obstacles in our lives. And do you think people relate more to the challenges rather than the successes?
I do think because we all face sometimes those challenges. And as we streamline and get to that success doesn't always happen for everyone, but it seems like challenges along the way, no matter how hard they're done or they're light or small or big, they're always there. And so we get this success. I mean, especially when it comes down to contests and having to, if you don't win the contest and the challenges of trying to now re-enter and the challenges having to go through that again and that process. But yes, there is the success, but the challenges, we all understand that. There's always a challenge somewhere that we all relate to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. God bless you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayatri.
Thank you so much, Jenny ma'am. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. And now I would like to hand over the virtual podium to our Division Director, Toastmaster Shobhit Singhal.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster DTM Gayatri. So, I think the fan moments have been expressed by the division. This is my own fanboy moment in front of you, Jocelyn. So now we are again at a juncture where we have a decision to make. A yes or a no. Both having logical explanations. Should we let you stay and be with us? Or should we just let you go because time is precious? While my heart says that we can just prolong it a little further, but I understand that there are things that should carry on. But we will not leave here without those key pearls of wisdom that we have collected from you throughout this session. Right from the aspects where we talked about why it is important to prepare as a package. It's not just reiterating the speech, but also with your attire, with your mindset, and with all those sprinkles of humor or changing the moments as and when it fits you. How storytelling is important and how this story should emerge from your own life. And that is something which will bring in the authenticity. We also learned that evaluation and feedback, although critical, but must be taken with a pinch of salt, because at the end of the day, it's your project. And lastly, watching previous champions is probably the foundation. So I think we have added one more champion to that list, and we'll have one more great speech to look at when somebody else in the coming future will prepare. With that, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of our heart for taking out time for us, for being with us and being so open-heartedly sharing your journey, because again, this is a story in itself, which we will take away with us today. And I'd also like to thank all the prestigious guests who've joined us from across the globe. Now, that is the beauty here. I was looking at the chat as well. I think we had all the 3 podium finishers at one point in time in this meeting. So I take that as a feat of achievement for the division and for all the hard work put in by the members. I take no shame, and I don't mince my words in telling you that it is actually the hard work of all the members put in. To be very honest, I can ask you, Jocelyn, as well. You wouldn't even have seen my name in the whole process. And it's only today that I'm coming in front of you. And that is the kind of pride I hold with my division. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining it and making this a huge, huge success. I wish that we keep arranging, keep getting these kind of sessions. And Jocelyn, before I hand over it back to our Master of Ceremony, I would like to buy a promise from you that we will see you again as and when possible. Thank you so much, and back to you, Gayatri. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Division Director. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Thank you so much to all the dignitaries who joined us from districts across the globe and all the district officers of District 124. Thank you so much for making this an amazing success. All those who are here in the room, can I please request you all to please come on camera and we can take a group photograph with our champion. And we have Toastmaster Alexander in the room, finally. He was storytelling and he joined us. So, Alexander, it would be nice to, oh, here we have Alexander. Okay, I'm going to put you on spotlight. I'm going to put Mariam on spotlight.
Hello. I'm sorry I missed the whole session. Good to see you, Jocelyn. I'll be sure to see you another time.
Okay, everybody ready for a photograph? Okay, hearts out, everybody. Okay. It was nice. And one more.
It's not coming yet. Yeah.
I think someone got a little this thing. Frustrated. Okay, I think the photographs have come in. I just want to check once more. Okay. I think we are good. Thank you so much, everybody.
Could you see the photographs?
Yes, I'll share it with everyone.
Thank you.
And
Thank
with
you, everyone.
that, yes, and with that, I would like to request the recording to be stopped.